You record. Record. I was going to say something, but let me first wait. Hey, yeah, I have mine.
Check one.
Hey, sorry.
What's happening?
Oh, yes. Alright, guys, yes, the Carolina takes the top track. Right, stop track. Hey, yes. There you go, thank you.
All podcasts should start like this. Invigorate your brain.
Yeah, I get that. I would share my water, but it's cold.
You guys have rendered my usual introduction very useless today. Honestly. Because normally I come and I'm prepared, I have an introduction or something, and now you've just done shots. So how do I beat that? Yeah? How do I beat the shots? Mumpadde wa chairman. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to yet another episode of the Talk Track. My name is Roy. I'll be your host for the evening. Today I'm not going to go into the nicknames because we've said, tradition is tradition. I'm Roy, aka Kamada, aka Nofachi Neviensi, aka Ochawa Giramanyu, aka Mutiawa, aka Owechigege. And as per usual, I'm your host for the evening. I'll be taking you through a series of discussions for tonight. As per usual, we're on the Talk Track, where our real talk leads to real impact. As usual, we are at Plot 8B, Gabula Road, the Barrow House, unofficial home of the Kara Junkies. A big shout out to Barrow House, big shout out to Auntie Wenna. Yeah, Auntie Wenna for giving us a platform and the opportunity to do what we do and do what we love. The Kara Junkies is an independent production of, the Talk Track is an independent production of the Kara Junkies, which is also an independent production of Morris. But Talk Track is an independent production of the Kara Junkies. It's produced, edited, sound mixed, and shot by Morris, aka Moromoro, aka the OG Kara Junkie, aka the father of the Kara Bike, aka no longer Mukono Moja, but Mukono Mbili, aka the giver of nicknames, aka the one who baptized Olivia Mama Water.
We shall keep it in the English language.
It is okay. Nachoga. We don't own any of the rights to the music you're going to be hearing playing in the background. Yeah, but in the event and all of the discussions presented, all of the opinions presented on the Talk Track are independent thoughts of the participants of the Talk Track and are not affiliated with any of the entities that are related to the Talk Track, that is the Barrow House and the Kara Junkies. The thoughts are independent thoughts by the participants from lived experience. However, if you'd like to catch up with us, give your own opinions, give some feedback, you can check us out on our socials, on YouTube at Talk Track UG, and on Mixcloud at Barrow House Radio. And at Barrow House Radio, by the way, on Mixcloud, you don't only get the audio episodes of the Talk Track, but you can also get some very cool playlists from our Q-List Saturdays, also at Barrow House, and from our Retro Fridays, which are also held at the Barrow House. Yeah. What I miss? Shout out to the participants in the house today. I'm going to start doing this. Shout out to the participants in the house today. Today we have Nachoga, aka Mama Olivia. From the border of Bolivia, we have Jocelyn in the house tonight. We have, as usual, Auntie Wenna. We have Jane, is a new face. We haven't seen her before at the Talk Track, so it's the first time. So guys, be gentle. And as usual, we have Owechika. Kanayo. Uncle Philo, what's up? Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for being here with us tonight. So today we're going to do it a little bit differently. Today, each of us is going to have an opportunity to answer a question. So don't shy away from the microphone. I'll just be calling you by name and asking you a question. It's going to be random, but that's the beauty of this, Yeah. It's going to be random. I'll just be calling out on somebody, ask them a question. And today we are going to be talking about, I think, something that has afflicted us as a society, which is, the illusion of busyness, like constantly being busy and that fear of slowing down. But before we get into that, a couple of things have been happening that caught my attention this week. Of course, campaigns for the presidential candidates are in high gear. 8 presidential candidates, no females this time around. But and every time I see Nandala Mafavi's campaign trail, I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, guys, so let's pay attention to that. Let's hear what our future leaders or pretend future leaders have to say about what they want to do for the country. But yeah, campaigns are in high gear. Of course, that means security has been beefed up for some people, while it has been lowered for some people. But you know how things move. This is not new for any of us. We've seen it time and time and again when it comes to the political landscape of this country. But it's up to us as citizens to, really our fate is in our hands, and I hope it's really in our hands. I hope it's not controlled by external forces. But yeah, let's just pay attention to these things because they're going to affect the next 5 years of our existence in this country. That's proper. We're having a lot of that going on. Elijah Chitaka released a new song called Daily Bando. It is everywhere.
Except for me.
You've not heard it. That means you're not on TikTok enough. Daily bando, like data bando, daily bando. And one of the lines in the song is Nkolodinganga daily bando. Like a daily bando. The thing that stands out for me though in the song is there is a part in the song, I don't know if it's the bridge or the chorus. Nkolodinganga daily bando. Natural guys. One of the lines in the song that gets me is the way he says partner. He says patana. But it's a nice song. You guys should check it out. Of course, it's our music. It's that one. But it's a really nice one. But it's been making waves. It's been making headlines. So I don't know if it's worth listening to. But Elijah Chitaka in and of himself he's a creative artist. That's what I love about him. He tries to step out of his comfort zone. So this is new. This is catchy. Yeah, I think it's going to be the song for the next 3 months. We've entered the bar months. Actually, this last 90 days of the year, if you do not have enough self-control, you're going to party from tomorrow. Because, by the way, this is Independence Week, so you're going to party from tomorrow until the 31st of December. So I'm just saying, you don't have an excuse. Someone once said that Ugandans, we say dirty December. Nah, we party the whole year. Then we use dirty December as an excuse to party more. But yeah, so Elijah Chitaka out there. Then the US government went on shutdown. Yeah, the US government went on shutdown. I think it was on account of a law that wasn't passed or a bill that wasn't passed, something to approve government expenditure, especially when it came to medical aid. The Democrats in the House wanted to extend Medicaid and Obamacare, which, of course, the Republicans were not big fans of. They claimed that by doing that, they'll be extending resources to illegal immigrants. And the Democrats were like, nah, this is the thing, just to provide adequate medical care to, people in the country. And so because of that, an impasse was reached, and Trump was like, you know what, screw this shit, I'm gonna shut this shit down. So what that meant is there's some government workers who were put on unpaid leave, and some were furloughed. Of course, there are certain departments that kept working. But another thing that really stood out for me is the fact that he said, that is going to be an opportunity to also lay off a few more people. He said there's going to be massive staff cuts. So I don't know what that means for people that's working in the government. And if you notice, the day he announced the shutdown, I think it was about Wednesday, the value of the dollar dropped. Because the dollar had been trading at about 3,800, 3,700. That day I checked into 3,400. So I don't know if the government shutdown is also affecting the economic side of this, but let's see how that goes. And then another thing that stood out for me, the whole Israel, Palestine, Gaza thing. So there is what they call the Sumud Flotilla. Now the Sumud Flotilla is a series, I think it's 40 water vessels that were, I don't know where they set off from. I've not paid attention to that story properly. I've been focusing on their journey to Gaza. But these are ships and water vessels that contain aid, like food and water and clothes and, medicine for the individuals that have been affected in Gaza by the Israel-Palestine, conflict. And this flotilla had been moving steadily for about 3 weeks now towards the shores of Gaza, containing aid. It also had volunteers, and it had some really. It had, I think, dignitaries. Okay, not dignitaries per se, but like people from different countries who are, wanting to provide aid. And I think in the last maybe the last 1 week, Israel had been a little bit confrontational about the flotilla getting to Gaza. I think they saw it as an act of war because it's vessels containing people from different countries. I think Spain was in it, Italy. There were some people from Italy. Then countries working together, like Greece gave them safe passage through the Greek waters and stuff, and they were floating through the Mediterranean Sea. And as of today, so Israel, of course, wasn't on board with this. Actually, what they had suggested is the flotilla should go stop on, I've forgotten the town, but it was on the board, it's at the shores of Israel, and then have the aid delivered to Gaza with Israel military. And guys are like, no, it's getting to, like, we're not fighting, we're not doing anything, we just want to get aid to the affected. And Israel didn't take that so well, so as the flotilla was approaching, they sent out their naval ships, and it's a whole thing, but that goes to show what the stand of humanity is now. You've already done a lot of damage to these people. You can't even allow them like the decency of the things that they need. It's very disappointing, honestly. But let's keep our ears on the ground and see how that goes in that regard. But yeah, so the week has been crazy with some news. It's been really, really crazy with some news. Not a lot has gone on the Ugandan front. If it did, I wasn't paying attention. Which is bad, really, because now that means our country is very uninteresting. Nah, we always have vibe. Daily Bando was there. Anyway, so yeah, back to our topic for the day. Yeah, we're talking about, I was thinking about it a lot the past few days because something hit me. I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday, where it felt like I was just existing, right? Not in a bad way, but it was like an opportunity for me to actually just be still and rest and recuperate and be okay. And I found myself feeling tense. Like I should be doing something right now, but like I'm not. Why? And then in my mind I started like picking things to do. And I went on my phone, was scrolling through apps and then looking for things to do. And I think it hit me in that moment. Like, why are you so scared to just be? Like, what is it innately that is happening within you that you're so scared to just be? Like, it's okay. And I had to convince myself that was okay. But then I had a conversation with a couple of friends of mine, and that we talked about is like, guys, do you ever get to a point where it feels like, it's okay to do nothing? Okay, not to do nothing, but to be productively still. And have you ever felt weird in that moment? They're like, yeah, I feel anytime I have nothing to do, I just feel odd, like my thoughts are running and stuff. I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I know a bunch of people who gather every Sunday at a drinking place. They take some shots and they engage in serious conversation. So today that's what we're going to talk about. Just I don't know if it's a paradox per se, but yeah, just that it's sort of like a conflict of interest. Like I need to be constantly occupied versus I actually need time to rest and refresh and refurbish. So, Rowena, hey, we start off with you. Like I said, today I'm going to be random.
Let me tell you, first of all, happy Sunday.
Why are you sad now?
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Thank you.
I am here, the voice is coming.
Party.
You see, when you talked about the ends, the months that end with ba. This weekend. Every time, and I feel guilty. I'm home at 7. Why? I don't know. I'm not 20 anymore, but I can do it. Okay? It's fine. Please. So anyway, the only difference is you find me at 7 appropriately dressed, it's fine. Back in the day, you'd be like this.
No walks of shame.
Yeah. But you guys can disco. Anyway, here's the thing. And now I love that you brought this topic up because I'm those people.
Mm-hmm. You're those people.
I reached a point where I told myself, sit, close your eyes, watch a movie.
Actually, yeah.
Even when there is urgency, trust me, I'm those people within the matter of urgency. It's like I'm telling myself, why? Then I go on a movie.
Yeah, but okay. But then my question, why is it that, And especially in like the last couple of years, what is it about us that we have that everything seems urgent? Like even the smallest of things, we make it seem so urgent. So, like, why are we so scared to slow down? Do people actually feel the need to slow down? Like, are we scared to slow down? And if your answer to that question is yes, why do you think so? Like, why do we make everything so urgent?
One, we have been told that to seem like you're doing nothing is a sin. And I keep telling people, just because you seated there blank doesn't mean you have nothing going. But because we've grown up in a society, basically, I think the whole globe, like globally, people have a tendency to think that when you're busybody, you have stuff going. So we feel ashamed and guilty for breathing, a little bit, for pausing, for sitting at the porch, balcony, whatever, for having an aimless walk. Like you've not even planned it out. Like if I go here, then no, you're just going. For deciding to listen to music at a certain hour, for choosing to try something. Like we have been set, especially in the world today, it gets worse more and more. And that's why I think we get embarrassed, ashamed, guilty. Even on a Sunday, you're guilty. That's why we come up with so many things to sort of be busy, But at the same time, it shows a lot because we still want that Monday to take a little longer. A few hours more before the Monday. Yeah, we need it. But it's a shame to say it, yeah? We sort of like, and then brush it off. But I think it depends on the situation. I personally, I think I'm a weird person. I've come to find out. Because my entire life, it is at the end when I'm like, I have to do this. I will know I'm going to do it. I have an entire plan laid out. But I will wake up and for some reason I'll say, no, I'm not going to do this. Let me first do this. And which is very strange for most people globally and especially in Africa, where people will think you're unserious. Even in school, the ones who went for prep before prep time. Like, why do I have to go before prep time? Can't I just go in time for prep? The ones who would soak their feet, why am I suffering? The ones who, it's like the society has glorified struggle and everything, pain, what for having something going. But personally,
for you, you're not on that book.
Tomorrow will happen.
Yeah.
And then I found out now. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a while since I've mentioned this. I think the last year or something I've been going through a lot, stages.
Yeah.
Since I lost the most treasurable person in my life. Because I realized I used to panic because I didn't know what's going to happen, I'm in a new situation where you're dealing with things head on. Before you had someone who sort of, our mothers and our fathers, there's someone that you don't experience it. And then when all of that changes, it comes direct. You're like, what? Oh my God, my life is over. And then you realize the thing that you are worried about for months and months, the time comes and you're like, huh? You mean my lifespan, I was shortening it for nothing. Like, why was I even worried, So I learned that what I can control, I will. What I can't, I watch a movie. Because unless I'm dead,
Yeah.
So I think my mentality sort of shifted. Already, I was those people, but then it became way more worse. You'll find me here at night till 2. The next day, I'll chill, like I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And if I have to, we are in an age where you can communicate, you can address, you can do things without necessarily having to be there. I always tell you, for me, it's result-oriented. Those busy bodies like in work. You've been in the work, we've all been in the work. Those people, they are the ones who are the first there, the ones who are last. But you're looking for productivity 0.
That was actually going to bring me to my next question. It's two questions actually, and this is open for everyone before I now pick on the next victim of a question. But these are open for everyone. One, anyone can pick up the mic on these ones. You've talked a lot about, you talked about that fear. Do you think us constantly being or wanting to be busy or constantly wanting, because I'm not even going to say wanting to be productive, but constantly wanting to be busy, do you think that is us as people sort of trying to control the situations that we find ourselves in? And then two, does busyness really mean productivity? Anyone can answer those ones. You can feel free to agree, disagree, or Rowena can take it again since you're the one who spoke about them. Yeah.
Okay, well, let me go with the second question. The busyness over, I guess, equal productivity. But no, obviously, I think like in the workplace, if you look at people like, yes, I might be there for 8 hours, but I spend the first like hour doing really good work because my brain, is at full speed. And then after that, it's like, what did I do for 7 hours? Like you really don't do much. So you're not really being productive. And so but of course, society says you have to work those 40 hours a week or whatever. So then you just think like, well, I was at work, so I at least did something. But really, when you look at people who, like I try to explain this even to our employees, is that like you should be doing something every hour that you're working. Like you should see something and you can do something like all the time. And that's being more productive than if I was just sitting there and like waiting for the customer to then tell me their order, right? I can go to them and ask them their order, or I can clean the table up like once they see this, like little rubbish. So yeah, I don't think busyness equals productivity at all, because I can be definitely busy and my mind not be there at all. So
yeah. And then I think I'll take on the first one because I very rarely give opinions. I actually do think that sometimes, or majority of the time, we try to keep ourselves busy because we're trying to maintain control. And I'm very, very guilty of this, trying to maintain control of situations sometimes that are way beyond my control. I find myself thinking like, if I just do this, or if I do this, or if I push hard enough here, or if I pull hard enough here, then this is going to work in this direction. And sometimes, a big part of being still is letting go. And a lot of us have that fear of letting go. We feel like, if we surrender this, or if we acknowledge that this is what it is supposed to be, or it is what it is, and we move on to something else, then we failed, which is majority of the time not the case. So we keep trying to push, and you're in the situation and you keep pushing and you keep pushing, you get burnt out, and yet you're not even achieving anything. So I think a big part of why we try to keep ourselves busy, or we try to feign that business, I think we are trying to maintain a little bit of control, a modicum of control in situations that more often than not scare us. And I think that's a big part. Like for most of the people, especially those busybodies that you see, someone can't just sit still, especially now. I've seen it in workplaces where people have the opportunity to sit at a desk. You'll find that someone will sit at their desk from 9 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. and they've done a lot of good work. And then you'll see someone who's working, he goes to that department, comes back, goes to the other department, comes back, goes to the other department, comes back. And they're like, man, this guy is all over the place, best employee. When's employee of the month? This man who probably comes in late sometimes, 11 a.m., but by 3 p.m., deliverables are met. Right? And then he leaves office at 3:30 and they say, man, that guy. But you see, the difference is that the other person is just looking busy. I read a tweet today actually about a soccer player called Diogo Dalot, Manchester United. He's not exactly the most liked player. I don't think he's even a fan favorite. But the tweet read, Diogo Dalot is evidence that you can make it so far in industry just by looking busy. Because he's very good at running up and down the pitch. He's all over the place. But if you now bring down the statistics to see what Dalot has done, most blind passes, most duels lost, this, that, you're like, why are you even on that pitch? But when you see him all over, he's in midfield, he's in defense, he's trying to... Anyway, but yeah, I think that's the case. Olivia! This one is for you. Oh my God. I know you like to talk about... You're a big advocate for mental health and mental health issues. So, what happens to us mentally or emotionally when life suddenly goes quiet, when we have that opportunity to be still? What do you think happens to us?
So I think just like you said, I found a month ago I was talking to a friend and I found myself guilty of being hurt by not being busy. Like I'm like, what am I? Like I'm a failure. Like am I failing at life? Like doing all these things, but I don't see the results, you know? So I was struggling so much in my head. And he told me these words is like, just step back and don't force like things. Like if you feel like resting, take that rest and follow your heart. Feel what your heart is feeling and accept that some things we don't have control and be able to do what you are able to do at the moment. And I have been trying to do that, and I can tell you it comes with so much peace. It kind of also it's when you accept this is where I am and I think I need this rest, it's okay to sit and watch this movie. Often after that experience, the feeling is good. Like you actually start feeling more productive. You start getting things done versus when you are under that pressure of catching time. So the answer to your question is it's very necessary and it's very healing. It helps you to actually get started and get things done.
It's kind of like taking a shower. A shower for the brain, right? It's, you have this pressure, especially when you find yourself in situations that are so intense. Like you have a deadline that you have to meet and you're and it's like, no, listen to 4 songs, it's fine. 12 minutes won't kill you. They won't kill you. Listen to 4 songs, calm your brain, and then move. I had a boss that often told me he's called, I don't know if he's okay. I'll ask him his permission, say his name next time. But he was the king of pause and breathe. In any situation, his first reaction was always pause and breathe. And the time it really stood out for me was we were doing community development, and in community development you learn very early on you can't please everyone. Yeah, you can't please everyone, especially when you're working as an NGO, because people often mistake NGO for free. Like you're an NGO, so you're supposed to give things for free. And I remember we had just passed a resolution as an organization at the time that there was going to be certain costs attached to certain services that we provided as an NGO. The community was up in arms. They came to the offices, and with everything going on, like let's picture you're seated here and there is about 70 people outside there with signs and stuff, and you're taking our money, and the man was sat in his office, and we all got to him and we're like, what do we do? And he sat us all down and he was like, okay guys, if you went out there right now, what do you think is going to happen? What are you even going to tell them? What are you going to tell them? You may make the situation worse. So he was just like, let's sit in here for 10 minutes. Let's not even worry about that. Let's just sit in here for 10 minutes and just talk to each other and see what comes out of that. Then I will go and I'll talk to them. And I don't know how it was for everyone else, but for me, I found that about minute 4 or 5, I actually wasn't thinking about what was going on outside. Like I was more engaged with the people in the room, and when we're not talking about anything related to work, you just ask us a very simple question. Has something like this ever happened to you before? And like, hey, oh, by the way, last time. And I'm like, hey, so for you are leading riots in campus. What? So you find, and then after that, like I think about minutes and he actually timed it. And then when his alarm went off, he's like, okay, now what do we do? And almost everyone had an idea. But it was just the idea of pause and breathe. Just pause, breathe, and let this pass. Let that pressure pass. Let that tension pass. And everything will then seem more clear. So yeah, I like to think of it as like a shower for the brain. So thank you for that, Olivia. Jane. I wanted 2 people to speak first before you get the opportunity, since you're a first timer here. So are you going to get the hardest question? No, it's not hard really, but I think it's more introspective than anything else. Jen, do you feel like hustle culture and social media has made rest feel harder to justify?
Well, I think yes, to some extent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there is a picture that social media portrays which is different from the reality. Yes? I think we all know about this. Like, someone is really struggling mentally, someone is really struggling financially, but then they will go on social media and try to bring out a particular picture. You understand? And then the other community, the other people who will see this, will feel like they'll get on tension. Can I say that? Like, maybe these ones are doing well, these ones are doing well, these ones, I should be this, I should be this. Yet, in reality, this person is really not going through that. This person has no Range Rover.
Just hired it for the photo
Just
shoot.
hired it for the show. This one doesn't have that Rolls Royce in reality. But you be like, at this age, this one has this one has this, and me at this. And that brings out the pressure, and that brings, every destabilization comes in. Yeah, that's why I think.
So first pay attention to those Rolls Royces you see. Those very common tweets of, I'm 19 years old and I just bought my first apartment. Like, bitch, why are you lying? On whose money? Because the reality on ground is quite different, actually. I agree with Jane when she says stuff like that, because a lot of time, and this is not to talk down on influencers or things, but remember, they're also a brand, and as a brand, you have to present yourself in a certain way, right? I mean, if I'm selling a good life, I have to show a good life. I can't sell a good life and then come and tell you the truth. Be like, guys, the good life is hard. No. Be like, no, guys, if you trade in crypto 1 month, you'll be here. Guy invests his entire life savings. Find the guy sleeping on the street. What happened? I traded in crypto because so and so. So yeah, that picture that social media paints sometimes also, puts us under pressure to appear busy, but also the hustle culture. Everyone these days, someone is telling you, I have a job, then I have a side hustle, then I'm doing this. And you're like, bruh, why do you sleep? Sleep is... Hey, I will sleep when I'm dead. What? What? So, all that. And I'm guilty of this as well. You talk to your peers and your peers are like, man, so I work a 9 to 5, but I have my side hustle and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm like, on what mental capacity? First tell me. No, be honest with me, on what mental capacity? And this is not me saying that you can't handle it, but as a human being, at some point, you're going to burn out. I want to bring, the Bible says you can't serve two masters at a go. You're going to love one and hate one. So you can't do more than, I think, a couple of things. You can't dedicate the same amount of attention to everything that you're going to do. At some point in time, something is going to suffer. That's why I like, what mental capacity? Really? Are you AI? You are a robot? Crazy, man. Crazy. Philo, wagwan. We're going to dance to Daily Bando after this. Philip. Let me ask you this. You often like to talk about, how much you relate with people whenever you talk to us. And I think that is a strength of yours. You understand how you relate with people, how to relate with people, especially in your field of work, should I mention it? Okay, yeah. But in Philip's field of work, he does do a lot of interaction. He builds a lot of personal relationships. So, Philip, how has business affected your relationships and how you show up for people? Or how does business affect our relationships and how we show up for people?
I think one, still, before I answer that, I would want to go back to being busy and being impactful. I would attach it to toddlers, those guys of 13 months. Those people wake up at 6 a.m. You get? They wake up at 6 a.m. The whole day, these guys are very busy. Those guys are too busy that if a toddler is too quiet,
you start to
you
worry.
suspect. You get worried. That's how busy those guys are. And by around 9, the guy is already too tired. He can't even eat dinner. You get? Like, the guy is already dozing because he has been busy. But if you sit down with him and you're like, okay, boss, you've been so busy, what's there to show? You get? So, even us as adults, getting back to what you've asked, sometimes we may want to look busy, but in actual sense, we are detaching ourselves from probably the people that would love to support us in any way. Because, for example, if you know that I can do something and there is a gig, like you've called it, there is a gig for me. Just because I showed you that I'm a busy guy, you'll be like, I would love Philip to do this, but guy is always busy. I don't know whether... You may even fear to call me, because even when I pick, you'll be like, hey, Philip, are you busy? Can we talk? But in actual sense, I'm not busy. But because I make you think that I'm always busy, and in the end, we end up losing on... We lose out on some serious stuff. So I think relating with people, being busy and relating with people is, for example, there are people that are too busy that they can't hang out. Yeah. These guys are always busy, like from Monday to Monday. These guys are busy, and you sit down and wonder, okay, this guy is ever working, but where does he spend his money? You get? So these guys are too busy that they don't have friends. Even their families are breaking up because the guy is busy. At work, you're moving department to department. Hey, at home, you're coming back, opening the laptop. In the night, you're reading New Vision. You're too busy playing Sudoku stuff. So you end up losing out on every simple relationship that you... Actually, the people that would be willing to relate with you, they'll be like, but how am I going to begin hanging out with this guy? Because his conversations are different. This guy is always busy, he's always thinking. But in actual sense, you're just wasting time. Misusing leisure time, actually. Misusing
so, leisure time.
I feel like busyness and relationships, then I think it does too much of detaching us from the people you could be with.
That's lovely. This is why I asked Philip that question. The man understands human interaction. Yes. Mama Water.
I actually wanted to add something.
Yeah.
Because I think I have recently experienced the same thing. It's when you're busy, or when all this info, I think it goes all the way from from her point of influencers and what we watch online in regards to what normal life should look like of someone that is responsible. So you find that you create these schedules, and when you create these schedules, often putting in the play, the rest, the interaction with friends is seen as usually the thing that you should give the least amount of time, or even exclude if possible, because it's seen as wasting the precious time, your precious time. So you find that you keep working and detaching. And last week, a few weeks back, I've been asking myself, should I go out and meet the bonobos? No, I am going to waste my time. What does it add on me? What does it build? How does it build me?
Yeah.
Like, all those things that how busy has been sold makes us lose ourselves and brings a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
That it just drains you, that you just stay there and be like, okay, what do I do? And
that's lovely. Yeah, Rowan, I wanted to add something as well.
Oh, sorry. So that is why we have a lot of sicknesses.
Do you mean physical, mental, or both?
Everything.
Yeah.
Do you know how many of us go to the hospital? Do you know how many of us go to the hospital and they check us here? There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Lately you even go to the hospital and the doctor says exhaustion. We at the point. I'll give an example of myself. I used to worry about what will people think about how I do things. And the way I do things, most people think I'm just lurking around, I'm just chilling, But that's just who I am. So the worry of what will people think of how I do things, And then you try to this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
Trust me, the day I realized, I was like, yeah, go back to your, factory settings, okay? Just relax. I can be there and just look in the air for a whole freaking hour. I don't care. I don't know what I'm thinking about, But I realized when I went back to my factory settings as me, when I stopped trying to be busy for the world, when I stopped trying to prove that, guys, I am actually doing something. It's just that I don't do it how you do it, okay?
Yeah.
When I stopped doing that, my psoriasis, anyone seen me lately? I don't wear the things I used to come. My psoriasis had eaten me up. And now, just because I said, it's okay to lie down for an hour or two. It is okay to just...
It's okay to breathe.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I swear to the heavens, I woke up one day, of course, plus the ghee I'm using.
Yeah.
But I woke up and the psoriasis is not psoriasis.
It is not. It's psoriasizing.
Psoriasizing.
That one.
It said, hold up. This chick has found a solution. What's wrong with her? Why aren't we eating her up?
Yeah.
Because she said, well, no one is eating me up anymore. I shall just exist when I have to exist. I shall breathe when I have to breathe. Because at the end of the day, with these things we are working for...
I like there is two things you said, but I'll focus on one. I am not going to look busy for the world. Right? And I think that's what a lot of us are guilty for. I think we've trivialized what busyness and productivity looks like. If I'm not moving about, if I'm not here and there, then I'm not busy. And you could be busy simply by sitting at home, opening your laptop and reading a couple of books. That's still being busy. Yeah, you could be, busy. I'll walk down the street and maybe look at something and get an idea. You're still busy. It's just, I think we need to learn how to individualize busyness, right? All of us, and I don't know, I won't speak for everyone else. I'll speak for myself. I've been guilty of trying to be busy like everyone else, right? Okay, so I'm going to take a step away from everyone. Those things, lock in for 6 months, be alone. What? I'm like, huh? So you look at the 6 months, you're like, so I locked in, Was I doing it as Roy, or I was doing it because someone else said that is how you should do it? I think I found that it's not a one glove fits all thing. And that is something that it takes a lot of time to learn. But I think once you master it, then you get very comfortable as in who you are in your life. It's not a one glove fits all. We have different, we talked about it last time, we have different identities, we have different personalities, we have different temperaments. That means what Roy does to push himself forward is not the same thing Morris is going to do, right? Roy may read 17 books in a day, and that is okay for him. Morris is going to listen to 386 songs, and we eat, but we each are going to make very, very important progress in our respective lives, because that is how we move. So I like that. I like not being busy for the world. Jocelyn, how you doing? Look at her. She's serving water. She's hydrating.
Yeah, I haven't drank water all day, so.
So Jocelyn, I'm very, very scared to use the word productive rest, but in your opinion, when we take that step back, when you're like, okay, I'm going to take some time off to breathe, to pause, to be still, what does productive rest look like for you, and how would you generally, put that for everyone else? Because of course there's certain aspects that are individualized, but if you're to look at it generally, what would productive rest look like for you?
It's a hard one because I like lists and I like doing things. Yeah. So it's not really rest in a lot of ways. And everyone knows I don't sleep because I like to do things. So, but I realized this week, like I went to the deli and I was like, I'm going to get things done on my computer and I'm going to, do all these things and it's going to make me feel accomplished. But then I was like, that looked like the rest that I needed because I felt like mentally I needed to do these things to get through like that period of what I was feeling. And then Miss Winnie calls me and she goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to the deli. She's like, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I mean, I was here to be productive. And I knew if she showed up, I wasn't going to be productive. But then she was like, no, I know you. and I knew that you needed someone to come and talk to you. So she was like, that's going to be more rest than if you, sit there and you try to get these things done and just look busy, like you're saying, or like be productive in that way. Because for me, that's how I always thought productive looked like, as like rest, in my opinion. Because it was things that needed to be done. So therefore, it calms my mind. But really, I was like, okay, no, this talk had really like set me back too. And then it gave me the mental ability to then be able to do other things, because I was able to talk through like how the week was going and things. And then, they give you suggestions and things like that. So that became more rest than what I thought my productive rest would look like.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jocelyn, for that.
I think productive rest would really mean cutting down a stressor, blocking a stressor. Some people have different ways of cutting down or first blocking a stressor. Someone might choose sleep, then that is productive rest to them. You sleep, you wake up when you're a new person.
Yeah.
Someone might decide, maybe you're at work, be like, let me go on my phone, I watch some TikTok. You will wake up when your mental health is different, because a stressor has been put at rest.
Yeah.
And your mental health, your brain is not thinking about that stressor anymore, focusing on other things. So you wake up, you come back when you're different. Maybe someone might choose to, I can choose to call my sister, be like, Rowena, can you imagine this? Then with Jazz, then she tells me, home is like this.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I feel better. And I'm able to function more better than if I had continued to. That is rest to me. That is productive rest to me.
Yeah.
I've not slept. I've talked to someone. I've not, I think productive rest is when you put a hold on a stressor. I can be at work when I'm really stressed out. I'd be like, man, let me go home. If I go home, I'm not going to sleep, but I'm cutting down a stressor. The cause of the patient, this medication is there. Like, I did this procedure, I did this. I'm home. Even if someone calls me, I traveled. So I blocked a stressor. So whenever I go, when time comes when I go back to work, I'll be a different person. Trust me, I'll be so productive than before.
Yeah, that's lovely. I love that you said blocking out a stressor. I know there is something. I know a couple of people who, blocking out a stressor is going to look like something like cleaning. And someone's like, oh man, you've come back from work, you're so stressed, why are you cleaning the house? Cleans top to bottom, spotless. And after that, they sit down and they're like, okay, now let's have a conversation. And they're so calm. For some people, it's eating. For some people, it's cooking. Like someone will tell you, cooking calms me. Doing laundry calms. There's someone who told me doing laundry calms them. I was like, you're a liar. You are a liar. Fire burn you. Why are you lying? But yeah, I like.
One of my blogs. It's like me coming on Sunday talk track. The talk track podcast is one of my ways of blocking my stress.
But it is mine as well.
Exactly.
It's like
so I look forward to, even when I'm hungover, I know if I come on Sunday and we chit chat a little, and me, I'm a talker.
You'd be like,
honestly.
Be like, Monday blues who? What
I
are
know,
Monday
right?
blues?
I wake up thinking, I did something good.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. But I love the idea, the idea of blocking a stressor. But I also like Jocelyn's idea, and she touched on something. By the way, I'd like to give a special shout out to intentional friends. People who know you and get you and understand you. Because for Winnie to say, I know you needed to talk to someone. And I think for you, your productive rest may just be a 15, maybe 20-minute conversation with someone. And you're like, yeah, now I can go back and read microbiology because, yeah, but that's lovely. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we close it out, something is happening for the very first time. How many of us have seen Maurice in front of the camera? Not behind it. Right now we're behind. So, ladies and gentlemen, and the guys, our viewers, whenever we say the Talk Track is an independent production of the Career Junkies, and we give a special shout out to the OG Career Junkie, and we give a special shout out to producer. This is producer. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Maurice. always doing the job of getting out these things on time, always capturing the videos, making sure the posters are designed and that stuff. So man, he's always behind. I think he's behind the lens. We get the opportunity to be in front of it, and so today we give him his flowers. Maurice, we're going to get you a gift one day and give it to you. So a special shout out to Maurice, because honestly, he does the hardest part of the whole thing. We do the easy part. We talk. We're like actors, and he does everything behind the scenes to make us look good. Even when we shout on the mic, he'll come and, there, you're going to make my work difficult. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've enjoyed this discussion. I don't know about all of you guys, but I've enjoyed this discussion. It has been really, really eye-opening in the sense of how one, which is especially now, and it comes at the best time, because I think if you count from today, we have exactly 90 days to the end of the year. And, a lot of us made New Year's resolutions, and, maybe we're coming to that point in there when you're like, oh, I feel like I've done nothing and the year is ending. No, it's okay, by the way. We need to learn that it's okay to breathe. We need to learn that it's okay to pause. We need to learn it's okay to have an occasional drink or take the occasional nap or, Yeah? Yes, Rowena.
Also, Independence is on Thursday.
Independence Week. Yeah, we're in Independence Week.
We are going to disco.
Mama.
But by the time we come on Sunday, I will just have stories.
It is okay. That's what I love. And I think next Sunday we're not gonna have a topic per se. We're just going to talk. Yeah. But Independence Week. How many years? 63 now. I think it's 63 now. Yeah, it's 63 now. 63 years. 63 years of independence. But on the African continent, that's a lot on the continent. If you're not counting Liberia, obviously, and Ethiopia, 63 years is a lot. I think majority of African countries are within that realm, except for South Sudan, because South Sudan is 14. Yeah, they got their independence 2011. But checking out South Sudan, majority of African countries are 55 to 63 years of independence. But anyway, shout out to the motherland. Yes, we may not be the perfect country, but boy, do we know how to have a good time. We are the party capital of Africa. Anyone who wants to argue with me, argue with your keyboard. We are the party capital of Africa. I don't think there is a group of people that can hold a party, throw a party, push a party like Ugandans do, Sunday to Sunday. You want proof? X-Hub. You guys know X-Hub? Does X-Hub ever close? Does X-Hub? There's a bar called X-Hub in Kampala. Do you think it ever closes? I don't think it closes. It runs 24/7. They have a night crowd, a morning crowd, and an afternoon crowd. So shout out to X-Hub for keeping our party culture going. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, that brings us to, unfortunately, we would love to keep this going, but, time and tide wait for no man. So we'll bring it to an end for tonight. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Shout out to Philip. Philip gave us a talk today, but now Philip is closing us out. So shout out to Philip for closing us out with the recording. Shout out to Philip for taking some burden off Maurice and allowing him rest a little bit and, appear next to this handsome fella. So I'll make you look good. Yeah, but shout out to Philip for that assistance. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, again, the Talk Track is an independent production of the Career Junkies. It's produced, edited, sound mixed, and shot by this man right here, Maurice. I've been your host for the evening. My name is Roy. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Ladies, it's Independence Week. Gentlemen, it's Independence Week. Go home, have a good time, take some time off, rest, read a book, sleep, disco, the world, you'll still find the world the way it is. Nothing is going to pass you by. Yeah, all the things. By the way, there is someone who said so much. There are two quotes that keep me going. Sometimes we stress so much about a future that we may not be part of. But then a more elegant way to say it is, we plant a lot of trees under whose shade we shall never sit. I think when you think about it like that, you're like, okay, I am stressing so much, and yes, I'm going to build this for someone who might be there in the future. And maybe it's a little bit selfish. It's a little bit selfish, but if I'm not going to sit under that shade, it doesn't mean I'm not going to plant that tree, but I am entitled to a bit of rest as I plant that tree. Yeah, because if I die before that tree is planted, then what good is it going to be for the people whose shade, Yeah, burnout is real, guys. Burnout is real. I like the point that you brought up. That's why we have a lot of sicknesses. Guys, I was also like you sometime last year. I went to the hospital. I felt like I was dying. And the doctor told me, no, but you're fatigued. You're tired. Don't go to work this week. Sleep. But that was his prescription. was like, when's the last time you got leave? I was like, I don't know. He's like, this week, I'm going to write you. This week, you're not going to work, sleep. So yeah, guys, let's take some time off. It's not bad. Let's rest. Let's, of course, be productive in our rest, but still, let's rest. Enjoy time with each other. Life is so short. And, we'll always be back here in some way, shape, or form. So that brings us to the end of our podcast today, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. My name is Roy. We have been at Plot 8 Big Gavla Road, the Barrow House. We'll see you all next Sunday with some interesting stories. I'm waiting for interesting stories from Independence Week. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night and peace out.